Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is Designed Resilience, the corner of the internet where we talk about daily habits, practices, and rituals that can help you design the resilience you're going to need when life takes an interesting, unexpected, or sometimes expected turn. Today, I want to talk about building a positive self-concept, and I really have three key methods that I have used in my own life to build a positive self-concept. Now, what's a positive self-concept? It's the belief that you can successfully navigate any situation that comes into your life. So you may have heard about positive self-esteem or positive self-confidence, and those are absolutely brilliant things to have. But a lot of times when an unexpected event happens, or we lose a job, or we break up a relationship, or some financial issue happens to us, self-esteem and self-confidence are not easily graspable. It's really difficult to, or can be really difficult, unless you are successfully being delusional all the time, which I am a fan of personally. But if you're in a rough spot in your life and you are trying to grasp for the strength that you have inside of yourself, self-esteem and self-confidence can be hard to get to. So a positive self-concept is a much more logic-based, grounded perspective that can help you keep moving forward when it feels like there's no way out. And so by looking at our life history and using that as the grounding for developing this self-concept, we can have the strength and the courage it takes to move forward. So if we're looking to build a positive self-concept, here are three ways that we can establish that and build on it, so that when things get better or if things get worse, we know that we have what it takes to get through it. So the first step to building a positive self-concept is taking time to think about your life so far. So I know you're alive. If you're watching this video, you have to be capable of breathing and thinking and listening or seeing this content. And so what that means is that even your worst days have not taken you down. And for some of us, those could be really, really bad days, really bad things that have happened to us and been experiences in our lives. So as we go through this first step towards establishing a positive self-concept, we want to just take an inventory of some of the things that we have survived successfully that at the time we thought were going to completely sink us. So some examples in my own life. I got divorced. That was a really big change in my life that had all kinds of implications. It changed where I lived. It changed my financial situation. It changed my name. It changed everything. And there were times going through that process that I literally laid on the floor and cried. I was so devastated by all of the dreams I'd lost, by all of the things that were not going to be happening that I'd thought about. And so that's one example. Another example is, big financial challenges. I didn't have enough money to make my bills, and I had to resort to payday loans. It wasn't a time that I had my finances in control. And I thought when I was doing that it couldn't get worse, that it just couldn't get worse. I was working 2 jobs and still wasn't making it, and was in a really dark place. But I'm now in a very different place, both in my relationship and in my finances. And I know that I have the ability to move through them, because when I take an inventory of the things I've survived, that is proof of what I've come through. So the first step is look back through your life and think about the times and events that you've been through where you didn't think that you would make it. The second step is to analyze the thoughts that you had in those times and the truth of your life now. Our lives change so much. If you looked at your life a year ago, it probably is very different than what your life is today, both positively and negatively, right? Some things got better, some things got worse. If you looked at who you were 5 years ago, you're probably not even the same person that you were 5 years ago. And so step 2 is looking at the thoughts, beliefs, and activities that were happening when you were going through that really hard time and what your life is like now. For some of you, it's going to be recent, and all of those emotions and feelings and thoughts are going to come flooding back to you. And you're going to be like, oh, I really was depressed, or I really was afraid, or all of those things. Some of you, like me, it's been a long time since, knock on wood, anything really traumatic has happened in your life. And so while you can remember the feelings and the thoughts that were going through your head, they're not as close to you. They're not as direct. And so you have some distance between them. Just recognizing the fact that your life changes and that there can be something that is crippling in a moment, but given some time and some space and some resilience, they won't be as oppressive on you as they are at that time when it's happening. So you see that your life changes. And like I said, sometimes it changes better, sometimes it changes worse, but it does not stay the same. So you've looked at the big events in step 1 that you thought you'd never get over. In step 2, you have realized that your life does change and that over time you get some distance and some emotional distance from those experiences. And number 3 is to take that learning and change your self-talk little by little. So this is the daily practice. The step 1 and 2, maybe something you do a couple of times, but once you get that picture and those stories in your head of, this was really hard, but I overcame it, and I know that my life changes over time, and so I can have a belief that things will change. Whatever I'm going through today won't be the way my life is forever. The third step in the daily practice, the ritual, is to listen to your self-talk and interrupt it with the new truth that you've discovered about your own life. So if you are mine always comes when I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I may have a great day. I may not be thinking about anything that I'm worried about. And then as soon as my head hits the pillow before I fall asleep, all of these things flood my brain. And so I've started looking at those things, those memories, those thoughts, those fears that come into my head. And I can look at them, and I know that my brain is designed to protect me. My brain is designed to keep me alive. And so it shows me things that are scary to warn me from doing them, to make me afraid and keep me safe. But I can look at those and I can say, I've learned my lesson from you. Thank you. I don't need you anymore. Because I know that I've overcome it. I know I'm not in that situation anymore. And so changing my self-talk, reminding myself that I'm capable, reminding myself that I've survived, reminding myself that today may be the worst day I've ever had. But if it's not, then the worst day I've ever had is in the past, and I've overcome it, and my life is different today. And I know, because of my life experience, that my life will continue to change going forward. And I can use daily habits and practices that I learned in Design Resilience to help make that forward motion better and to help make my future brighter with these little habits. So if you're going through something or not, I highly recommend beginning to build a positive self-concept, because it's easier and a little more logic-based to get to when things are hard. Remember everything you've overcome. Realize that your life will change and whatever you're feeling today won't last forever. Whatever you've gone through, you're a different person now than you were even a year ago. And the daily habit is to begin to interrupt negative self-talk, to tell your brain that you're okay, that you're growing, that you're changing, and that those things that happened to us in the past, we have learned from, and we're going to make different choices in the future. So when you come to a challenge, and this has been a daily habit and practice, you may panic, you may freak out, you may get upset when something changes. That's totally human. But the message that's going to kick in to your brain, because you've practiced it, is that this may be really bad now, but in enough time, it won't be really bad. Things will get good again. And I've survived everything I've been through, and I'll survive this too. So I hope that this is helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next week.